Hi all, it's Jan of the Jan Files. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so I can go live. I would really appreciate your support. I'm going to talk about a few things. Let's start with Epstein because there's just a few updates. And as you know, or as most of you know, Darren Indyke and Richard Kahn, who are in charge of Epstein's estate, were also part of his operation for years. Darren Indyke was 25 years, and Richard Kahn, who's the accountant, Indyke the lawyer, Richard Kahn, 14 years. And both of them claimed to have no knowledge of what he was doing. I yell bullshit. I don't believe either one of them. And the problem here, folks, as we all know, I'm not sharing anything you don't know, is that there is no recourse when these people get on the stand and lie. There is none. I mean, because the only recourse would be for them to be turned over, a referral to the Justice Department, which would go absolutely nowhere, right? So these guys are lying through their teeth like Les Wexner and just knowing what's going to be done. What's going to be done? Are they going to go to jail? Are they going to, highly unlikely. Okay. So, but anyway, so Darren Indyke and Richard Kahn, both of them lied about all this crap because both of them were with him, working for him when he went to jail in Miami. So, or Palm Beach. I keep screwing that up. Palm Beach. When he went, he made a plea deal and he was in jail for 13 months. And what folks, I mean, please, they didn't know. Yeah, right. I mean, the level of stupidity of some of this and that people actually believe this shit is mind-boggling to me. The other thing, Darren Indyke did say, however, that there were private investigators. Let me get this right. There were private investigators who had hard drives. Epstein hired them, and I guess they were the ones who had some of these hard drives. Now, what I also know is that before the cops went into his mansion in Palm Beach, there was a lot of stuff that was cleaned out. And it was computers, it was camera, it was a whole bunch of stuff. And I know that some of the things were taken by private investigators and brought to, oh God, maybe not quote me on this, but I believe some of them were brought to Zorro Ranch. So that one I'll follow up if I fucked up that fact, but I don't think so. But for sure, private investigators were there moving things out and into different storage facilities. So I'll look that up again. But so he's confirming that. Okay, so that's a little bit of news. The other thing is that because they didn't really have a recourse written into the bill for the Epstein Transparency Act other than breaking the law, there was no trigger about, what happened. Let me again say this again in terms of the redactions and them not fulfilling what they were supposed to do. So now they're like stuck. So now the committee's like, what are we going to do? I gather, thinking about joining a lawsuit with the survivors, for the failure to turn over all the files. So there's that. There's also that the Democrats are going to hold a hearing with the survivors. Now, I don't know. I don't think that date has been set, but stay tuned for that. And obviously, Pam Bondi is supposed to show up on April 14th for a deposition. I wouldn't hold my breath. So that is the biggest news in terms of Epstein right now. Now, let's talk a little bit about this announcement that Trump made this morning about that he was in talks with Iran, that they contacted him, and that they were going well, and that is why he suspended his ultimatum that was supposed to be triggered on Sunday. It didn't happen. He's given a 5-day window. What First of all, there were no quote talks. What did happen, which I wasn't aware when I was listening to other before I kind of did my own digging, was that there was some messages passed between like Egypt and Turkey, and there was another company too, Egypt, Turkey, and Pakistan, between the US and Iran. Now, I gather the next thing is there is an attempt to set up a meeting with Witkoff, Kushner, possibly Vance. And why do I find myself wishing that Vance was there? I don't know, maybe I'm ill, but I know he wasn't for the Iran war. Witkoff is an idiot. Kushner is an idiot. Vance is an idiot. So maybe that was, but at least he's an idiot that didn't support the Iran war, whatever that might mean. But we have totally incompetent people negotiating on our behalf. And this is astonishing to me. I mean, nothing really is astonishing anymore. But I'm going to use the word because I just want to point out that we have people in all levels of government that are completely and utterly incompetent. They have no background in the departments that they're managing. Zero. They don't know shit. Hegseth was a fucking Fox News reporter. Yes, I know he served in the military as press or something like that. But he doesn't have the knowledge to run the Department of Defense. And neither does Trump, clearly. And they also clearly didn't listen to their generals. So, but the point I'm making is that this was Trump's way out of this ultimatum, right? He was never going to do it. And he realized that because they didn't say anything, they didn't respond to his ultimatum, folks. Other than to say, okay, you do that, this is what we're going to do, okay? And one of the things we had threatened to do was to also hit their nuclear-powered plant, And Russia has already said, oh, no. Big no. Big no. And I'm sure that also factored in to Trump's decision to lift this, this 48-hour notice that he was going to bomb all their energy plants. And, he got slapped back from Russia for sure, and his buddy Putin. And so he decided to declare something that didn't happen, right? There were no talks. They did not contact him. Iran has been very clear. But the one thing that has come about that is good is that they're going to the table. And of course, one of the things that happened when Trump said, oops, or they came to me, we're going to negotiate things, is the stock market went shooting up, which he knew was going to happen when he did that, right? This is also the manipulation of the stock market so that he keep his buddies happy for a couple days, right? That went up. I don't know where it ended, but I know the last time I looked, it was up like almost 800 points. Now, where it landed, I'm not sure, but it's really irrelevant to me because, I'm not, and I don't know enough about this, but I do understand that at some point, some of these, mostly dudes, who are doing this with the stock market, up and down and trading and whatever. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to connect the dots here that they actually believe what he says. And that's why they're doing this after all of this shit, especially with the tariffs. I don't know. I'm just, the power of money and power. right? This is really, it's all about power. It's all about money. And we need to not lose sight of this. And I'm not saying you will, but I think we need to really continue to call out the billionaires and corporations, because I think it's getting through a little bit to the other side, that they are finally, getting that they're getting shafted, while these dudes, and women, but mostly dudes, are running around doing whatever the fuck they want, getting billions of dollars, making money, holding power, and the rest of us are screwed. So I think that that's a good thing to also continue in your conversation about the rich and the poor, and to really integrate that when you talk about Trump and where we are, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the last thing is I want to talk about is ICE. So ICE is now in 14 airports, and I've seen, besides the idiots in San Francisco that actually took a woman in, dragged her through the airport. Most of the things I've seen are these ICE agents. They can't wear masks, just hanging out at the airport. Literally, kind of standing there, just hanging out. I don't see them doing anything. I don't see them helping the TSA. It's helping the TSA to just stand the fuck there? I don't think so. I mean, it's absurd. The good news is that we can see their faces, and we should be documenting them so that when the time comes to hold those who have done illegal things, we have some evidence. I think that's really important. I would never, ever support doxing somebody. I don't think that's good. I'm of the two wrongs don't make a right persuasion. So, but this is evidence, and we are going to be able to need to document some of these people, who are in ICE, that have done such terrible, torturous and things, as well as murder. And this, folks, this isn't getting better because there's so much in the news cycle. Don't think that ICE is standing down. They are not. So they're still in Minneapolis. I don't know how many strong, but they haven't gone away. I know they brought the troop level down, but they still are there. And what Trump is saying about this, and the TSA not being funded, etc., is that he won't fund, listen to this, DHS, unless the Senate passes the Save America Act, the act that wants to suppress your vote. He is saying he won't let anything fund DHS unless they pass that. They don't have the votes to pass that. So make sure when you're having these conversations, when they say, "Oh, well, Democrats could have funded, and it's the Democrats' fault. The TSA isn't." The Democrats put up the bill to just fund the TSA without any other complications, but the Republicans want to use it as leverage, and now Trump is doubling down on that leverage. So that's where all that stands. I mean, they look ridiculous in the airports. I would suspect something awful is going to happen, just because wherever they are, something awful happens. And anyway, so those are the kinds of things I just, wanted to talk about today. So they're not as like these big, huge things, but they're important to know, and again, important to talk about. So stay sane as best you can. That's what I'm doing as best I can. I'm staying sane. And I'll talk to you soon.